Ah, yes, the 36-hour lie. We've all heard someone say it, maybe we've even told it to ourselves. It's that classic tough guy mindset, what you tell yourself after your elbow starts making that weird clicking sound during pull-ups. But here's the thing, that exact approach is how you turn a tiny little tweak into a massive, year-long injury. So what gives? How do you go from crushing personal records one day to literally wincing in pain just trying to open a jar of pickles? I mean, seriously. To understand what went so wrong, we've got to first take a look at what's going right when your body is working the way it's supposed to. Okay, let's talk about the incredible hardware that powers your every single move. We are talking about connective tissues. These are the biological ropes and sheets that are quite literally holding you together. I want you to think of your body's support system like a big construction site. Your ligaments, they're basically duct tape connecting bone to bone to keep you stable. Fascia is like the shrink wrap, keeping all your muscles bundled up nice and tight. And your tendons? Your tendons are the high voltage power lines. They transmit every ounce of force from your muscles to your bones, and that's what creates every single movement you make. And their strength is just incredible. The secret is, it's like an inception of ropes. Seriously, each tendon is made of bundles. And those bundles are made of smaller bundles, which are made of even smaller bundles, all the way down to these microscopic things called collagen fibers. In a healthy, happy tendon, all these tiny fibers are lined up perfectly parallel, just like a brand new steel cable. That perfect structure is the secret to their power. But they aren't just dumb cables, they're smart too. Tendons have this amazing elastic property, so they act like springs. When you jump, they store up energy on the way down and then release it to help power you back up. It is an unbelievably efficient system, until, of course, it isn't. So what happens when these incredible springs start to break down? And this is where things start to go sideways. Your tendons are built for a lot of use, for sure, but there is a breaking point. A point where that perfectly organized, beautiful structure we just saw begins to fray and just fall apart. So this number right here, this is absolutely crucial. Research shows that after about 10 minutes of intense, repetitive work, your tendons actually stop getting the signal to grow stronger. After that point, you're not building strength anymore, you are just accumulating damage. And this is the danger zone. When you keep pushing past that 10-minute mark, or maybe you don't give yourself enough rest between workouts, these tiny micro tears start forming way faster than your body can fix them. The rate of damage starts to outpace the rate of healing. And that, my friend, is the beginning of a chronic, long-term problem. Now, if you go to a doctor, you're probably going to hear one of these two words. Tendinitis, that's the fresh injury. It's inflamed, it's angry, it's your body's alarm bells screaming at you. But if you ignore that alarm, if you keep training through the pain, it develops into tendinopathy. And that's a chronic degenerative state where the tendon's structure has literally broken down. You've essentially been re-injuring it over and over before it ever had a chance to heal. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. Now let's talk about the solution. And there's good news. You can absolutely fix this. But it is not about rushing back to the gym with that bogus 36-hour mindset. It's about rebuilding intelligently. First things first, let's just take that 36-hour myth and throw it right in the trash where it belongs. This is what a realistic healing timeline looks like. Your body does not care about your beach trip or your next competition. Biology moves at its own pace, and respecting the schedule is the first and honestly the most important step to getting better. So how do you actively heal? Well, the gold standard is something called eccentric exercises. This just means you focus only on the part of the movement where the muscle is lengthening under load, like that slow, controlled lowering phase of a bicep curl. Then you use your other arm or your body to help lift the weight back up. You're avoiding all the stress of the lifting part of the movement. But why do these eccentrics work so well? Well, it all comes down to a fancy process called mechanotransduction. Basically, that slow, controlled lengthening sends a direct signal to your tendon cells telling them, hey, make more collagen. But even more importantly, it acts like a blueprint. It guides those new collagen fibers to lay down in that strong, perfectly parallel structure we talked about earlier. So instead of a weak, tangled mess of scar tissue, you're telling your body exactly how to rebuild that high-performance cable it had before. When you boil it all down, avoiding this entire painful mess really just comes down to one simple but powerful idea. You've got to train smarter, not just harder. Let's be real for a second. Most of these injuries don't happen because of one single bad rep. They happen because we get impatient. We skip the foundational stuff, we try to do advanced moves before our connective tissues have actually built up the strength to handle them. We end up building muscle way faster than we build tendon resilience, and that imbalance is a recipe for disaster. So the question you really have to ask yourself is this: do you want to be patiently building a foundation that's going to let you train for years and years to come? Or do you want to be the person sitting on the couch with an ice pack wondering why that 36-hour fix never, ever worked? The choice is yours.